that sometimes things aren't what they seem. Okay. Like when we look at this foot and we think it has high heels, those aren't the real heels. That's actually sidewall that's in front of the heels. The real heels are wrapped up in the foot here somewhere. Okay. So this wall here, however this thing goes, okay, those aren't the real heels. That's sidewall. Her real heels are more back here. Now the question is, where's the anatomy that grows that? See? Where is the anatomy? It's all been curled and rolled up and compressed to where it's not growing the parts of the capsule that it should grow. And so while we can look at this and think, well, she has high heels, but these aren't her heels. This is sidewall. And what has happened, you see this anatomy that should be here has been pulled in and pushed in this way. And inside here is a digital cushion. And so this cartilage and this anatomy has been pushed up this way. And it has pushed this joint here forward. See this bump? It's pushed that joint forward. Well, this coffin bone can't do anything when this joint is pushed forward, but do this. It is forced down like that. That's why you look at the ski tip on the bottom of the foot here. See this little deal here? Oh, that ain't doing it. Wait a minute. I thought I got my pin.
We can see it.
See it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's supposed to be like so. And stuff. So let me undo that here just a minute. So another thing, like when you look at these x-rays, you see this shadow here? See that shadow? Okay, you can tell there's separation right here. See that? How it gets wider right here? That shadow should be the same all the way down. But because all this anatomy is shoving into this coffin joint and shoving it forward and rotating this coffin bone and pushing it down on the sole, that's why like if they come along and they carve the sole out, if they shorten the toe and they carve the sole out here, that's why you get those sinkers where you'll see the toe come through the sole. So okay, so this foot originally was in this area, was right in here. You can see how it's the shape of the coffin bone right there. Okay, but it is being forced down and back. And so meanwhile, because of that, it is forcing the wall forward like that. Because this is being forced back, it is forcing the toe wall forward. Okay. So if you come in and you do too much of this toe here, all right, especially here in the sole, see, this toe is holding this foot forward. If the toe wasn't here, that would want to rotate even more because the pressure is pushing this toe back here. And so what had happened is this kind of a foot, you could develop a can foot really easy like that. And eventually, what had happened is this keeps pressing forward. Pretty soon the horse is going to be standing on it's very tiptoe like this and uh won't be able to stand up. The horse, have you ever seen a horse knuckle over to where they can't stand up?
I have pictures of a baby horse with a clubbed foot
Yeah.
that
Yep.
I came across when she was 4 months old that was like that. Just
Yeah,
that barely tip of hoof wall at the toe was the only thing preventing her toe from buckling over. And
exactly.
I came in and just trimmed just the back of that hoof, and we were able to get her corrected before she was 8 months old, for the most part, before everything kind of started taking form. And by the time she was a year old, she had a normal foot.
That's
So,
great. See?
yeah.
Because you release the back of her feet because this happens a lot to foals is they don't exfoliate their frog in the back of the foot and then as they're growing like this can happen to a horse because of the way they're trimmed. You trim out the heels, they make false heels, and all the anatomy gets forced in and shoves the coffin joint forward, which does this. But it can also happen to a horse that's growing whose frog and bars do not get exfoliated. And so the foot is growing. And as the foot grows, it's not able to expand. And so that anatomy does the same thing. As it grows, it's pushing the coffin joint forward and rotating the inner toe down, you see? And so what I found out, okay, was that it's okay if you have what seems like a long toe. It's okay to leave more than what you think might be necessary because it's the only thing pulling that foot forward to keep the horse from knuckling over. Because I found out every time I took a toe back, that a lot of times what had happened was the wall then would shrink back. And when the wall pushed back, it would push the bone back even more. See? And
And I
so,
remember you talking about that with Jackie Pony. So I have not really done much with the toe at all.
okay. And so, oh, God. So now,
Yeah, because that
okay,
would bound the hoof, right? If you're
yeah,
backing up that coffin bone back and then the whole hoof is still bound from behind, then
yeah,
it's just smashing the whole hoof together.
right. It's binding it even more. And see, and I did that. I've done it a number of times, in fact, because what's insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, right? So for years, man, I just couldn't stand it. That toe, that toe, that toe. I had to take that toe back. And several times I unbound the back of her foot, but when I did that toe shot forward, and I thought, oh my God, I got to take that off. And every time I did, it was a mistake because the back of the foot wasn't established, to where it would hold together and
Yeah.
stuff. And so now, you know, now I after making all these mistakes, okay, now we're in a good place. We're in a really good place, and um so anyway, so now I believe, okay, and it's not because I'm following the Phoenix way or anything like that, okay, because it isn't always the right thing to do, okay? There is no constant, all right? But in a case like this, yeah, I would be really leery of taking that toe back or that sole down until I got a handle on what was really going on with the back of that foot and could release some of that so that then this front of the foot, and when you do, your toe might even shoot forward a little more, but I really believe that the back of the foot has to be dealt with and expanded and allowed to. And I know that it can do it. Like, how old is this mare?
She's 10. She'll be 11.
Okay. Well, Valor is in his 20s, early 20s, and I trimmed his feet out for 10 years, and he is developing the foot that I'm seeing on these wild horses. His foot is developing and moving into those positions to be able to grow this stuff that I've been showing you. See, all the building blocks are still there. And he never had that foot to begin with. I mean, as far as growing up, I started trimming him when he was 2. And so, he never was able to fully develop that foot. So it's not like I'm taking him back to something that he had. He had what would you call it? The building blocks for it, but he never got to. And so now I'm seeing that this horse at this age still has the basic anatomy there to be able to bring that out. See? And I started practicing that on him too, not necessarily always bringing the toe back, because see, I had this deal of you got to draw your line in the sand, toe has to be here, has to be here, has to be here. But I have changed my mind on that uh uh somewhat because because what I noticed was you can a lot of time make these negative leverages work for you to straighten out the back of that foot. Okay. So like if I leave some toe here that has some leverage and she's got a lot of sole here, so there's strength, no danger of it going down through, I don't think. So if I use this toe as a lever, because you got to remember you're dealing with 2 different units. A capsule, which is like a shoe and can be pulled off like a shoe, but it's attached to the foot and growing from the foot. So you've got that, and you've got a foot on the inside. And so just like when you do this deal where you trim out the heels and you create this situation we're talking about here, where all the anatomy has been shoved forward into this joint, forcing it forward, and it's created a situation where you're no longer in weight-bearing unity or equilibrium, but you've got the toe pressing down and back, and now you've got the hoof capsule here pressing forward and up. Okay, that just like those leverages are used to cause distortions, you can use these same leverages to help you start correcting the foot. And in this case, what I've been working on and seeing was that if I didn't just quit kind of worrying about because the toe was a little long and stuff like that, and I left it there for a little bit of leverage, it created on the internal foot a pull. Okay, when you have a pair of shoes that are too big for you, what happens? You want to walk out of them, right? The back of your foot wants to come up out of that shoe, right? And so what I saw and what I've been practicing, and I've seen it work, is that you can leave some leverage on these toes for the very purpose of putting leverage to pull this toe forward, because it's supposed to be forward anyway. You can see where it's pulled back here. So we want to pull it forward. At the same time, it's creating internal leverage that is putting pressure on this part of the foot to pull it up this way. Let me get a drawing here. To pull it up that way. See, because this is all bound up and everything like that. So you want some pressure pulling this back. And so by doing this, you can start to unbind this foot here to pull these cartilages out. And then after you get this straightened out back here, first of all, it's going to relax this. What happens is it relaxes this bone here so that it's not being pushed forward and the bone will go like this. Well, you know what happens when the bone goes like that? Oh, well, first of all, I saw a deal on Rude and Riddle. They had a horse that was rotated, a pony, and they elevated the heels and they did not take the toe back. And you could see, let me clear this up here. Okay, so you see this shadow here where the coffin bone should be? Okay, what they did, you saw in the x-rays where this bone here, the coffin bone, moved back into this area it was supposed to be in. See? And so when all this is relaxed back here and this joint is able to move back and this toe is able to come back into here. See? Like so. Then what'll happen is you may see the wall, which now it goes like this and like that. You may see, what you may see is this wall may just kind of shoot forward some. But ultimately what you do is you'll just wind up growing this out like so. See, if you just don't get in a hurry. I've seen it. I've done it on my pony. I did it on Valor this year. I got some pictures I can show you where people are looking going, how come you're leaving the toe long? You know, well, because I thought about it. It creates a leverage back here. Now, I don't say that's always the thing you should do, but I came to understand a lot about laminar wedges because, see, she's got a little bit of a laminar wedge in here. Whenever you have that separation, you've got stretched lamina and a little bit of laminar wedge, you know, or you could have, she doesn't have a lot, but some have a lot. But this laminar wedge is acting as a prosthetic